All right.
All right, we are live, and it is 10:30 Thursday morning with Art Joy Sharing. That's Chelsea and Peg Robinson each Thursday, 10:30. And if you're catching this video later, this is a live video that we do each Thursday at 10:30. And hello, people. Hello, Shel.
Hi. Actually, it's 8:30. Just depends on where you are.
Yeah.
It's 10:30 Central Time. I say it's 8:30 Pacific Time. You know, it might be 4 o'clock where you are, but hey, thanks for watching. And welcome Lindy, Laura, and Marie, who are already here with us. Hello, ladies. Glad you're here. And Kathleen and Sybil. They're rolling in.
Hi, guys.
So what are we doing today? We are doing Meet the Artist, interview, question things, as well as working on some sort of a self-portrait. So I'm going to work in this homemade junk journal, and I'm just going to take the pages I want out because these are like little steel cable key rings that this is assembled with, so I can just take a couple out. That's what's nice about this type. But it's made out of junk. You guys have seen it because I've been working in it. I just have a few pages left in it, and I just want to finish. I was looking around at all my journals and saying to myself, I need to just finish some of these because it's silly. It's silly to have 6 or 8 in process, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who has that.
Oh, no, you are not alone in that for sure. So we've got more people joining us. We've got Peggy and Laura and Carla and Lindy and Judy and Lila. Good morning, people. Afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world. Cindy Utter, hi. Daisy, hello. So have any of you done self-portraiture before? I'm pulling the crowd. Is this something that you've experimented with or been interested in? I've done this several times throughout the years. I think this was one of my very first self-portraits that I did way back when, and it's done on a canvas with collage, and I've got my little mice friends around here, and so it was a canvas that I did. Then I several years later had done I'm just looking back at some of the things. This is a self-portrait that I had done in my journal in February of 2018. So this is just a page in my journal that I had worked on. And then recently I had started work on a couple of them. This was one I had been working on recently, and then I've got another canvas that I think I can't remember if I think I started this on Art Joy is Sharing this canvas, didn't I? Can't remember. Anyway, so I've done a number of different self-portraits. So I'm going to try to approach this a little bit differently today. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Rennie. Hi, Barbara. So what do you think?
I haven't made very many self-portraits. I probably might have made one at some point, but I have no idea where it is or whatever happened to it or whatever it even looked like. But I'm gonna do mine in a paint over collage format, so it'll be fairly realistic. But what I discovered this morning, I had a little bit of self-realization this morning. You know how they talk about self-talk and how we treat ourselves and how we talk to ourselves. And I was trying to find a photo that I liked this morning. as I was, because I needed to print something. If I'm going to paint over, I needed to print something. And so I was going through photos on my computer, just really trying to find something quickly. And as I was quickly doing it, it took an hour because I could not find anything that I liked. I do avoid the camera. I don't like to have my photo taken. I knew that. But I didn't realize how much I hate the way I look. And so today I'm going to try to have some positive self-talk about myself and try to treat my photo that I did finally pick in a loving and caring way towards myself, rather than looking at it and saying, oh, you're so ugly. That's what I was doing this morning. That's what I spent my morning doing, saying, oh my gosh, these photos are so ugly. I'm so ugly.
And you know what? I have met Shel in person. She's a lovely person and a lovely face, and her smile is radiant. So don't believe anything she says about herself.
You know, I'm sure I'm not the only one who has that problem.
No, I definitely don't like to have my picture taken either.
I loathe it. I truly loathe it. I just hate having my photo taken. And so then I was looking for ones that were, you know, close up enough that I could paint over them. And so those are going to end up being like selfies, basically, or, you know, someone taking a photo pretty closely with you and someone else usually. And in every one of them, I just looked ugly. Didn't like it. I don't like it. This is not something I enjoy. I'm going to start out with some colors I enjoy, because I do enjoy colors. And these are the colors right here that I enjoy. So that's where I'm going to start. These are pieces of papers that I've found in my piles. You know, I've got piles and piles of papers everywhere. I also like this picture. That is a picture of where I live with the sun coming up, which is kind of representative of how I should be, you know, I should be radiant, like she said, instead of going yuck, yuck, yuck. So this is the photo that I finally found. This is myself and my husband. This is from 2019, and it's obviously a selfie. I took it onto my photo processing free software, which is Paint, and I made a couple different sizes, and I made it black and white, and I made it lighter by just lightening the whole thing, lightening the whole layer to a percentage of what it was, so that it wasn't super dark. And I think that the smaller one is actually going to be the one I use. So that is my layout. And I will glue all this down and then paint and doodle over the top of it somehow, which I haven't gotten that far yet. Well, looks like Rennie has joined us. We already said Cindy and Barbara, I think. Judy, Marie. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. So we also have a question and answers, because this is a Meet the Artist. I have just some generic questions that I will ask throughout the broadcast, and Peg and I can answer them. And then if you guys have any questions, you can ask as well.
Yeah, you know, we like the part of Art Joy Sharing being a community. And we want to share with our community. I don't know if I want to do that or not. The first thing I thought of this morning, you know, we're talking about questions of the artist and what we do, is I thought of a squirrel, because I'm in the studio all the time and I'll get some wild brain idea and I will just take off and do something entirely different from what I had intended to do. So I don't know if I'm going to use that squirrel or not.
It's cute. Oh, look, a squirrel.
I was thinking about, you know, this squirrel kind of embodies the artist in this studio. So I thought about that. I've got this Grumbacher journal here that I'd added some color to the pages some time ago, and I think I'm going to work in here. I had begun this. I've got pockets and things, and I can tuck more ideas and things in here. I can also, one of the things I was thinking about with working with a journal like this where you've got pockets is you've got these places where you can put some of your thoughts. So, like on this tag, I can very easily add, some of those things that we're thinking about or talking about in a self-portraiture. Barb says in her photography classes, they always had to confront the camera. Okay.
Ugh, I don't like to confront the camera. The camera is not my friend.
So on here, I can add things, my favorite things, my things about myself. Okay, just throw a question out there. What do you drink? What's your favorite drink? Is it tea? Is it coffee? Is it soda?
Well, I can answer that one. Tea.
What's your favorite tea?
Currently, it changes, but currently I'm drinking this one that my best friend sent me, and there's this really cool little, like, it's a restaurant, but it also it's kind of hipstery. It's been there since I was in high school is when it opened in my hometown. But they have cool food, and then now they have music, and they've expanded it and done all this different stuff. But she sent me their signature iced tea, and it is cinnamon and orange. And so yesterday I took some of the loose leaf tea and I put it in a jar of water, and I took it outside in the ridiculously hot heat that's out there right now. Arizona's burning up, people. Hotter than normal.
Yeah.
And I made sun tea, and that's what I'm drinking. It's like cinnamon and orange flavor.
That sounds good.
But not like Constant Comet type flavor. It doesn't have all those really warm spices that you think of like around holidays or whatever. It's just very simple and very good. And it's what they serve in their restaurant as their signature tea.
Hey,
Place is called Great Pacific if you ever go to Pendleton, Oregon.
So yeah, my favorite, of course, is what I have in hand right now, which is my coffee. I don't get out of bed without it, I guess. But I drink coffee and tea all day long with water, So occasionally I have something other, but those are my main things. What do you guys drink? What are you guys having?
I guess I mostly drink. I mean, really, realistically, I mostly drink water with lemon in it.
Uh-huh.
I drink that all day long. You got to drink a lot of water.
Yeah, but your favorite is the tea. So I guess I could ask what the favorite drink was. So your favorite drink for me is coffee.
So let me ask you some of these questions. The first one, what type of artist do you identify as? If someone says, what do you do? What is your answer to that?
I'm mixed media. For me, I dabble in a lot of things. And if you think about over the years, what the things that we've done, we've been artists all of our lives.
That's true.
And I mean, I go back to when I was maybe 8 or 10 years old, and I was taking coffee or teacups and decorating them with felt and lace and things for my grandmother. We've always done something that's artsy craftsy. And
I mean, I've always done something, but I was confronted with that question. I have been a few times recently. I've been somewhere and suddenly my husband decides that he thinks that he needs to tell people what I do. He's never done that in the past. He's never, you know, I mean, not that he's not supportive, but he just doesn't see, he's not really that, doesn't seem to be that cognizant of what I do. But lately he's been telling people. And he's like, oh yeah, she makes YouTube videos for art. So then the people that he tells want to ask me the question, well, what do you do? And then I have to try to come up with an answer. I decided that I'm a collage mixed media artist because I mostly do collage. I love to do collage. And then I like to put other stuff with my collage. So that makes it mixed media, right?
Yeah.
So that's my answer when they ask.
Yeah, I mean, you're not purely collage. I mean, that would just be only collage.
Right. And I am.
Yeah.
I'm like a squirrel too. I do a bazillion different things. I get distracted. I get ideas of other things I want to try in the middle of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pin it down. So
It
then
is
they'll be
very
like,
hard.
so you do that on YouTube? And then you have to kind of explain, yeah, I teach art, basically, I guess. I teach art on YouTube. That's what I do.
Yeah, and that's kind of where all of this stuff began for us doing the YouTube thing, was because people were asking us to show them how to do something. Or I mean, that's where I started from with the whole YouTube thing. Was I was in a group and they were asking for volunteers to show how to do a particular something, and so I said, okay, I'll give it a try, and thus my YouTube channel was born.
Yeah.
How about you? How did you get started?
I think people just told me I should, like, and I hadn't thought of doing YouTube because that's like, as much as this might seem easy to other people, when we do it, it is hard to just step out, especially for someone who's introverted, to just step out and say, okay, here I am, and this is what I do, and do it right in their face.
Well, you're putting yourself out there, and not everybody is kind and generous.
No, absolutely not.
There are some real nasty people in the world,
Yeah. I don't know why they feel they have to be like that, but there certainly are some.
But you take the good with the bad, and overall, we as people tend to look at the negative stuff more than we look at the positive stuff. It's just
that's true.
Wow,
is that ever true? One mean comment on my channel will make me obsess for days, and it should be outshined by the thousands and thousands of kind comments I get.
Right.
But it never is. It's always, oh, that person said this, and is it true? Am I really that? And yeah, it gets out of control sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and once you're out there, you're kind of at the beck and call of people. People don't understand if they're not a YouTube creator. And I guess, that's the other part of we're not just mixed media artists or mixed media collage artists. We are also creators.
Creators of content for people's enjoyment.
Right. So we're instructors, creators, just helping the community. And I enjoy that. I enjoy the camaraderie of being with you guys here, like on a weekly basis. Hi, Wilma. Hello. And all that kind of stuff is fun, but it's also a good deal of work for little self-benefit, so
very, very small.
When you see artists that are giving of themselves doing this kind of stuff, I understand totally why there's Patreon, why they have paid classes, why, because, you don't expect a plumber to come in and do the work and not get paid. You don't expect, so why should all of these people on YouTube that are given of their time and talent do it for absolutely nothing?
But it also takes guts to demand payment.
Yes.
I haven't done it. I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. I did eventually give the people the opportunity. That sounds so pretentious, the opportunity, but I did make, the donation. If you want to make a donation, you can, because people were asking, not because I thought that I should get paid. I don't know. That's a tricky one too. That's really, yeah.
Well, if what we're doing is creating something, like if I were doing a Patreon, I would expect you to be getting some other value than what I do just in one of these chit-chatty type videos here. It would be an actual teaching environment, and I would be imparting my knowledge to you. Now, I do some of that. We do a lot of that on this channel and on our own YouTube channels, but I just, for me, myself, I've taken a lot of classes, and I know when I'm getting my value back out of those classes that I take.
And when you're not.
Yeah, and when I'm not. We were having that conversation the other day, and it's like, don't know if I got anything there, it's like, okay. Because there's a lot of classes that you can take. And I discuss things with Shel a lot of times about, do you think this would be of value? Have you taken this? Have you seen this? What are you thinking about this? So.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not ready to have a Patreon. I would teach classes if I had some type. The thing about that is you got to find your platform. You got to figure out how to do it. It doesn't just magically appear when you say I want to teach a class. It doesn't just magically appear for you. You got to work, just like every other thing.
Right.
Work.
Well, and see, if I were to do something like that, I'd want it to be in the format that I would want it to be in. Like, I take classes from other people, and the things that annoy me are when you have to sign in over and over and over again, and
right.
specific passwords and all that. And I'm saying, if they bought this as a class from me, they should be able to download it and watch it whenever they want, because it's like buying a book,
Right.
That's what I think of when they buy these classes. It's like buying a book. They should have total access to it. They should be able to put it in their library and watch it whenever. And I don't see that happening with these other platforms. That's, where I am as an artist, is I think what I think is fair. Hey, Lisa. Hi, Leslie.
I think we've got most of it glued down now. This is my favorite color.
I don't know. I'm just mostly gluing stuff down here. So let's see, another question.
I have more questions. What is your art background? I think yours is very similar to mine.
Well, I don't want to say self-taught, because I'm really not. I get taught by a lot of people who, when people say self-taught, I think what they're saying is they are not taught by somebody who's accredited in art to teach classes. And I actually have taken accredited art classes, because I took art classes in college from different instructors for different media. I took ceramics, I took what was it, metal smithing, I took, so I've taken a number of classes that are accredited classes that are art. However, the stuff that we're doing here is not an accredited class. Okay. So the things that I'm doing here are more trial and error and experimentation and things that I have learned along the way, along my journey. How about you, Shel?
I would say that I'm self-taught, and I have recently maybe taken a few classes online and stuff like that, but overall, I come up with this stuff on my own. But I've been creating something, no matter what it is, since practically since I was in diapers, and I have lots of memories of being with my aunts, and strangely, my uncles are also creative, but they were always out in the wood shop doing manly creating. And as females, we're doing girl creating. So I didn't learn wood shop from my family, but I did learn sewing and crochet and knitting and, making Christmas ornaments. And I did a lot of things like making fashion clothes for my Barbie dolls. And just, I always had access to paint, paper, crayons, whatever, because my mom was an elementary teacher. So, but I would say self-taught. I'm not a real artist because I didn't go to a real school.
Well, you are a real artist, but when you look at people like Georgia O'Keeffe and that, the history behind many artists is that they went their own direction. Many of the divisions in art when they're changing a style of what's popular today are just because somebody went their own way, and they may have been classically trained, but they changed what they were taught and took it in their own direction. So
yeah, and those people sometimes get called weird things, but one of the things, and those people still exist, is called outsider artists, people who are not following the norm, who are doing something completely different. And I would say that that's a fine label for me. If you want to call me an artist, then I'm an outsider because I don't do what other people do. Or I try not to. Sometimes because it looks cool and I want to try it and it's a learning experience. Often I just only want to do my own thing.
Well, and a lot of times you guys see that. I mean, you guys have watched us experiment live. It's like, oh, I've got some new product. Have you used this yet? No, I haven't used it. Well, let's just give it a try.
Let's just do it. In fact, we're doing that at the end of the month. Yeah. We have new stuff and we're going to just try it right live online. We're not even going to try it beforehand. We're just going to
go for it.
I'm just going to wing it.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the excitement for me with art is that, you can do the same thing over and over and over again. But I find that boring. I always want to find something that excites me. A lot of times I was telling you guys, when was it, yesterday or the day before, I was telling you guys about the challenge that Barb and those guys, Vicky, we were working on that. Now I don't even know where the journal is. We were working on those different journals that were, I don't know where it went to. Yeah, okay. Squirrel.
The doodling. You're talking about the doodling.
I was talking about the doodling, and I am not a doodler, but these guys excite me to the point where I will pick up a pen and I will try stuff. And then we were, I think it was about a year or so ago, we had done some tribal or Aboriginal or different types of art, and I really liked the look of it. I really, a lot of the people on YouTube were doing things like the rock painting with the little dots and things. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And anybody can pick up a pen and make a dot, right?
Right.
So I thought, well, let's see where we can go with that. Let's give it a try. Let's play with some, because I already had stuff. I already had journals and things in my stash. We all have that stuff. And I thought, well, let's give that a try. And we would spur each other on, and that's one of the things about being in an art community is we kind of push each other outside of our own comfort zone to do something. Shel's outside of her comfort zone. She's putting her face on something today.
I don't like it.
So, what type of an artist am I? I don't even know if I am. What I do know is that I am an experimenter, a chemist, what do they call that? A scientist. I'm out there trying different things to see what works for me.
Okay. I sealed that up with matte medium just to make sure that everything, because this is a print, these are printed photos on just an inkjet printer, and some of this had watercolor on it. Like these two were the gel printing with watercolor the other day that I did. So that's probably not quite dry, but
so what, typically, what do you usually have around you? Like when you just start a project or want to sit down and work, what calls to you? What do you go to first? What's your go-to?
paper. Colorful paper. That's what I love. That's why it's Paper Octio Studio, because I can make anything out of paper. And I love color and pattern, and paper is so easy to work with that I just grab a stack of something, look at this. You could make anything with that, right? Look at that beautiful pattern and color. Happens to be purple, my favorite. But I just grab paper and then I start doing something with it. That's what I do. Okay, this is all pretty.
Quilts.
I have another question. What role does the artist have in society?
Well, you know me. I'm an emotional person. Okay. There are things that get my blood going. And I think that many times you guys have seen me working in my journal and my social conscience is coming out. you've seen my pages where my social conscience is pouring out on the page, and I'm just, very emotional about things. And that's where a journal for me is very important. I think it is important to stand up for what you think is right. And as an artist, I think we can be the first ones to get a message out there because we have a vehicle, we have a voice to put that stuff out in the world. Lisa says she has a problem. She likes it all. Well, most of it.
Me too. I like it all. I can't focus on one thing, but paper. It always comes back to paper. So
yeah. Leslie says I got a granddaughter a gel plate for Christmas. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, gel plating is always fun. Yeah, I go back to paper because I don't sew, number one. I used to, when I was a kid, My mother made all of my clothes. We learned how to sew in school because there was still home ec. And I absolutely hated sewing. My mother was a perfectionist, and if I didn't do everything right, you ripped it out and started over. And so I'm not that kind of person. I'm a good enough person. If I look at this page and I say it's good enough, I'm going to leave it be. I am not going to rip it all out and start over. So sewing has never been my thing. Now give me a hunk of metal and a saw or a drill, or I will get out in the garage and I will play with those things and do an assemblage and all of that kind of stuff. I like 3D art. I like tools. I am a tool diva. Many of you know I have a lot of tools.
Did you watch her the other day get out that huge sander? Did you watch that one?
Who did what?
Mary Beth, she got out a sander and she started sanding her paintings.
Oh, cool.
Well,
yeah, I have sanding blocks, but I don't have an orbital down here. That's out in the garage. But I do have a drill press down here. Because you never know when you're going to have to drill a hole in something.
Well, she had a big old palm sander. She just sanded up the place.
Interesting.
You should watch that one. You'd like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Live stream. I don't know. It was one of her live streams.
Well, when you get all that dimensional texture on there, sometimes it's nice to take it back. Now, I remember doing something like that one time. Have you guys ever done where you do all the different layers of paper and layers of paper and layers of paper, and then you come back and you sand it down to reveal the underneath, and you've got all of those cool sanded edges where you're getting down in there? I've done that before. That's fun.
That's basically what she was doing.
But I did try stitching a lot of years ago. I mean, I did the long stitching stuff that everybody was selling, and so you took it home and did it. I did cross stitching. I did crewel embroidery. We used to, I'm a child of the early years. I'm not going to say which one. And so we would take our jeans and we would embroider our jeans with all kinds of things. And so I did a lot of crewel embroidery on my pant legs.
Are you saying you were a hippie?
Yeah, I probably was. Probably was. So I should probably start drawing a caricature of myself, right? And I'm just gonna use a pen because it's underneath here. I can hide it.
That's terrible.
I don't care. It's gonna be what it is. Let's see. I need a chin. I need a chin.
You think?
Yeah. And let's see, the eye. The eyebrow is going to be about there. So the eye is going to be like right in here. And I need a neck. I need some hair. Although I have a lot less of it these days since I did my own COVID crop.
As well you should. As well you should.
Although I should be wearing a hat, because I do like hats. I do like hats. So, okay, so here's Peg coming to life here. I should probably have a bag with all my art supplies in it, right?
Oh, definitely.
I need to be carrying my art supplies. And let's see. I need that I need that hot cup of whatever it was, tea, coffee.
This paper has some bumps in it. Ooh, I didn't glue down well enough. That's annoying.
So let's see.
So the thing about painting skin is that you kind of have to keep layering, and I don't know that I have that much time today. You start out with small, and then you just keep layering it up.
Let's see. I need a shoulder over here.
What, you think you need shoulders?
Well, it helps to hang that bag from.
True, very true.
Right? So this is not really proportioned right here, but oh well. Something about this arm I didn't do right, but that's all right. We'll let it be.
Call it abstract.
Well, it's me. What can I say? But I should probably put some color into that. And I don't know. I think I'll just use some. I think I will just use some crayons to add some color. I've got all these things that I don't pull out and use. Do you guys have a lot? Okay. Next question. What product do you have on your shelf that just sits there and that you haven't used?
Tons. I currently have several new products that I haven't even tried. Because that's just the way it is. These are my old glasses. I don't have these glasses anymore. What do I have that I haven't tried yet? I haven't really spent too much time with my gloss sprays. That was one of my recent purchases. I have some things coming. I have some other things that are up there in that box that I haven't even touched. At this point, I don't even really know what they are.
Well, one of the things that I know I need to do some more with that has not been visited often enough is my pan pastels.
I love pan pastels. I don't just they're a big mess to get out. They're a big mess.
Yeah, they are.
It's hard to get them all out. I think is my problem. Not that I don't want to, just I haven't had a chance to really.
Well, when I get them out, it's like I need to have a project that I'm working on, and I need to have a day to do it. Because, like you say, they're kind of a mess, and they take up a lot of space because they're in those pans.
They take over the whole desk.
Yeah. So that's one of the things. How about you guys?
Oh,
Hi, Nell. Let's see. Somebody's saying paint. Mod Podge.
I think they're talking about the things that they have that they can't live without.
Oh, hi, Connie. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff in my stash that I probably can live without. I don't want to live without because I thought they were cool when I bought them. But, you know, like right now, I'm thinking, should I be concentrating more on, you know, a particular thing, or should I, you know, be like I usually am, like squirrel, and just jump back and forth?
I think being, you know, some experimentation, but mostly doing what you want to do. I spend too much time doing, like, not doing exactly what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm working for a company, I gotta do their thing, or I'm on a design team and I gotta do their thing. I
Yeah.
gotta work with products that maybe aren't my favorite. I think it's probably, and I've been saying this for a while, probably time to do what I want to do. So
Yeah. Well, and you
it's
know,
hard.
at a certain point, we get. I'm closer to the other side of the dirt, and I'm thinking, you know, you only got so much time in this life to do things. When are you going to take the time to do all those things that you said you wanted to do, and you've postponed? You know, you
Yeah,
just keep postponing.
yeah. We've been talking a lot about that in my family, right? Recently, more than
Yeah,
I'd really like to talk about it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's truly is something that we have to think about, I think. Um, oh, what color do I want my bag to be? I think my bag should be colorful.
I think you should.
Uh,
I'm not enjoying this.
is it just because your face is on it?
I just this layering process annoys me.
Oh,
Trying to make the shadows and the highlights and the whatever. And
yeah.
yes, I don't like my face. I wish it was not on here.
So, speaking of which, what do you guys when you're working on something and you're not enjoying the process, what do you do? What do you do differently? Good morning, Gina. Yeah, follow your heart. Absolutely. We all need to do that. But sometimes that's difficult, you know, sometimes family or projects or whatever just continue to get in the way. Oh, I don't think I gessoed that. Actually, I know I didn't gesso that because it's not moving at all. Okay. So that means I need to put some matte medium over that. My friend, matte medium.
For sure.
And I need a brush.
This is more fun. I think I need to intensify the colors. That's what I don't like. They're too light. Okay. Um, has your art practice changed over time?
Oh, yes. Daily. I don't know. I used to do art at night, like when the kids were in bed, but then the kids grew up and got to the point where I was retired and I had more time to do what I wanted to do as far as art. And, I never really had a space for art. It was everything was in a bag or something shoved in the closet. And all of a sudden when the kids left home and I had space, it's like, oh, I can have a studio.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, I could actually paint on a big canvas and I could store supplies because I have room for that. So yeah, it's just grown into something much bigger because of that. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, when you've got kids and stuff, you don't have you don't have the time or the space or the ability to really focus unless it's your job. I mean, if it's really truly your job, you probably can manage it. But when the kids were little and our house is full of stuff and I didn't have space or time, and then I finally made myself basically a little teeny tiny studio in this little weird angled room that is off of one of the bedrooms. And one of my kids was still living in there, but when he was gone, I would just go in that little teeny tiny place. It was angled and just not very wide. And I started to do more stuff, and that's when I started making videos. And then now I have a full room that's what used to be a bedroom. Used to be one of the kids' bedrooms, mine, and I work in here every day, whether it's something that is, for a client or something that's for me or something that, journaling or whatever. If it's journaling or small projects, I usually make it into a video. Pretty much every one of them goes into a video. If it's something larger, I sometimes don't make a video because it's just too much footage to fit down into 20 minutes. And I know that people will not watch super long things, even though they might say they will, they won't. They'll fast forward and, whatever. So I spend a lot more time doing art now than I ever did, probably since, I don't know, a long time. These need to be darker, darker, darker. So I guess I didn't mention what I'm doing here is using Color 2 water-soluble crayons, which is a favorite of mine, and doing layers and layers and layers of color with them because, this month it was all about water-soluble media, right?
That's right.
So this is a water-soluble media. I am going to do, I think, some pencil or pen work over the top of this just to get some detail going, But that'll be in the doodle phase. Because right now, I'm just trying to get this stuff smooth, and it's not working that well.
So I'm putting words that I think are appropriate for my self-portrait on this page, like Instagram, Pinterest, challenges, sketch, journal, read, watch, and share. These are all things that I do throughout the day, besides the normal household stuff. But I mean, as far as my art practices go, I'm typically doing something artistic every day. And it encompasses all of these things.
Yeah, I am every day too. Although, I mean, I can't say every single day because occasionally I'm just like, screw it. I'm just going to watch television. Sometimes you feel like that, and that's okay. Like, I'm not going to work today. I'm just going to watch television.
Well, but even when I'm watching television, I usually have a magazine or something that has some art in it, or because you got commercials, I will have many times a sketchbook or something so that I can write down some ideas. Things are popping up in my feed, as
Oh,
they
yeah,
go throughout
that's
the
true.
day.
I mean, I'm constantly looking at stuff.
Yeah, one of the things that they're talking about in the chat is the brush art that's going on Instagram right now. I was watching some of that this morning because my friend Ophelia was with Kate Crane. Ophelia is the gal that we got the watercolors from, Shel. And she does Jerry's Artorama videos in addition to her own art. But the thing that's going on right now is in the industry, in arts and crafts, people of color have not been represented very well. I don't care if you're Hispanic or Black or, whatever, they have not been represented. When you look at the art, it looks very much like the white people that we are, okay? And I think what's happened here with the things that have been going on is there's been a movement to try to promote melanated artists. And so my friend Rachel, who is part of our Art Joy is Sharing group, started this whole concept, and Dina Wakely and a number of other artists have joined in. And then now all of a sudden, all of these artists are having 2 days on Instagram where they're kind of like the comedians that are passing the mic off to somebody else, where they're passing the brush to another artist so that they can be seen and heard in our industry by all of you guys. You can find all these wonderful artists that you may not know exist because they just haven't been in your wheelhouse. Okay. So, and they also got a number of companies behind them. So they're doing giveaways and things too. So like if you go and follow these artists, you can jump on over there and get in on a giveaway and maybe win some art prizes that you can use to make your self-portraiture pages. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't want to forget that this morning.
Yeah. I was watching that this morning on Instagram as well. I was trying to stay in bed as long as I could. I've been waking up way too early and just, wanted to stay in bed. So I started looking on my Instagram and watching. And there was a lot going on. A lot.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see these larger channels and companies stepping up to the plate, getting behind this. It's an important thing. So the other thing that's really important to me, we were talking about the whole social thing and art and how art can affect things. If you look at a lot of the art in inner cities, there are the murals that are on the sides of the buildings that have meaning and significance. asking you a question, Shel. I'm not sure what, but
Here's the link.
you know, there's a lot of feeling. You know, even if you're just looking at the colors of these paint cans, there's a lot of feeling in this. And so many times art that is being done is just to evoke a certain feeling in people. You can go to the art galleries and see pieces of art that will stir something in you. A lot of them, you know, are not the things that you're going to hang on your living room wall. I'm telling you that. It's not the pretty flowers. It's
No.
something to bring out a different type of feeling.
The stuff
So
that shocks you usually stays in your mind longer than the pretty. But I like to make pretty things.
So I'm writing some words along my paint cans here, you know, that these things are in response to the world.
No, that's good.
Around us.
That's sufficient. I don't know. I do actually have blue eyes. Maybe not turquoise, but they are blue.
Which is, you know, why we have our community, which is a safe place, which is Art Joy is Sharing, because we want to respond to people in a kind fashion, and benevolent, considerate, courteous, helpful, loving, you know, all of those thoughtful things that we hope other people are responding to us with. And so that's why we formed a community where we can share our art with like-minded people and just be kind and considerate to one another and share our art.
Yep.
And it's a substantial group now. You know, we've got
Oh, yeah.
13 to 1400 people in there now. So
It grew a lot during the last challenge. People went crazy and started joining in.
Yeah.
Like mad. I love Neocolor 2 crayons. Oh, they're awesome. Let's see. What themes do you pursue? That's what we were just talking about, basically. You know, trying to say something when you make art. Say, you know, people always say to me when a lot of times on my channel, when I make something, I talk. I do voiceovers so that I can talk about the reason that I did what I did. And I think that's part of education of how art practices happen. If you can really point to a story or an idea or a thing and say that this is the reason I did it, this is why, you know. And talking about heavy themes, I try not to do that too much on YouTube because I want my channel to be someplace that doesn't piss you off. You know, there's so much stuff you can talk about that makes you mad. I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. I don't talk about social justice particularly. I do try to avoid that stuff on my personal channel as much as possible because I want people to be happy. When I make art, I'm happy. And that's the way I want other people to feel when they watch my channel. Does that make me is that kind of a cop-out? Should I be doing more as an artist to really make a statement? I'm not sure. Maybe.
You know, I think we all have to contribute what we can. and not everybody is comfortable at all times with all things. You know, so many people, I grew up in Iowa. It's about as wide a place as there is. Does that mean I've had no exposure to people of color? No, that doesn't. It just means that I pretty much had to seek out that, just like many of the people who are doing this whole thing with Pass the Brush art this weekend. We have not seen a lot of the people of color because they have been oppressed, but we also have not done anything. We have not done our part to step up and say, well, this is not right. We have to support this. We have to bring it forward. And so I myself have put a lot of things in my own art, in my own channel, that may seem controversial, but it's where my heart is and how I feel about things. And if I'm emotional about something, you're going to hear it from me, because I think some things need to be said. And especially at this time, it's not just me, the whole industry is saying it's time that we quit sweeping things under the carpet and we kind of step up here and make a difference. So that's where I am with it. But it doesn't make anybody else bad or wrong, or it just means that I'm at a point where I am comfortable enough with my own feelings. A lot of people are not comfortable enough with their own feelings to know how best to respond or how to be of help. And the best way you can help is to listen. If you don't have people in your life who can share with you about what's going on, then you just need to be open to listening to the diatribe that's going on and what their story is,
My cousin spoke out on her social media for the first time about her experiences recently. And I have never heard her say any of this stuff, but she's a very, very, very white. So white, you would not even believe how white this girl is. She has red hair, freckles, that kind of white. And she's married to a guy from Ghana, and they have 2 children. And she lives in Seattle, where there's a lot of really weird stuff going on in Seattle right now with all this. And she was just talking about her own personal experience of how they have to be careful because there are still people out there who don't think, that they should be married, basically.
Right. Well, I mean, it's only a generation away where there were states where it still wasn't legal.
Right.
So, yes.
Until she said something, I never thought about it. I don't even notice.
Yeah. But see, that's just it. People need to see color, because the first thing that you do see is color. And that's where the whole stereotyping thing comes in. Why people are followed around in stores, why people are, we need to get over the stereotyping based on what somebody looks like.
Okay, I think I'm done with the Neo colors. I was pretty happy with Neo colors.
Oh, that was really deep. So anyway, the hashtag for this weekend is Pass the Brush art. And you can find that on Instagram. And then there's where you sign up once you have followed the artists that are involved there, you can go to the Pass the Brush artcommunity.com and sign up for the giveaway.
Yeah, I didn't sign up for any giveaways. I just followed all the people um, that were participating. If I hadn't, most of them I was already following, but there was a couple that I didn't know about, and so
there's always people I don't know about on Instagram. It's amazing how many artists are out there. But I'm one of the things that I'm tucking into these pockets here. This is a little tag that says, "Love is the golden thread that ties our hearts and souls together." And that's my point, is that we need to love one another. I don't care who you are. I mean, even if it's somebody that's obnoxious and bothering the heck out of you, be the bigger person. Pull up your bootstraps and say, "Hey, how can I turn this around? How can I show some love here?"
Yep, sometimes that's hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, hey, anybody that's raised kids, there are days where, you just but you still have love in your heart, even though you don't, we don't always like things that people do. We don't always care about what their behavior is, but we can still love them.
I wanted to do some stenciling, but my pouncer was way too wet. Dang it. I need one more white. I just need a different pouncer because I guess I washed that one out this morning and it had too much water on it. Not cool. All right. Should art be funded in schools?
Oh yes.
I think
I think I have seen studies where students involved in all of these extracurricular things, whether it be art or music or any of that type of stuff, typically have a higher learning and better grade average.
Yep.
So yes, I'm all for funding it.
It seems like that is going by the wayside. So many schools are losing their funding for things like art and music, and I think it's wrong. Can I still wipe this? Yep, I can. Okay, good. Because this one's too mushy too. Try to clean it up a little bit. This is a pretty cool stencil. I think I've used this one. Well, I must have because it has paint on it. I don't recall using it. What is your dream art project? Like, if you could do anything with your art, what would it be? I know what I want to do. I want to paint murals on walls. I want to paint big. Big, big, big. What happened? That's pretty cool. Let's see. I'm going to do some of these dots too because I like the dots, dotty dot dots.
What was the question? The goal?
Like if you could do something like anything with art, what would you do? Like, what would be the thing that you dream about doing?
I think I do it. I think for me, art is an outpouring of expression. Um, and it's a way for me to explore myself, the world, my friends, sharing. Um, I don't think I have unfulfilled dreams when it comes to art. The only unfulfilled dreams when it comes to art is to travel, to see art in other parts of the world.
Oh, yeah.
I would very much love to, go to the Far East and see some of that beautiful art there, or, go to some of the museums that I haven't had an opportunity to visit. I did go to a museum when I was in Ireland, but I have never been to the Louvre. I've never been, there's lots of things that I would like to see in my lifetime. Kind of locked down right now, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, we can't go anywhere. So
But as we're doing this self-portraiture, I was putting down these words and things, and I'm also saying self-portraits can reveal a good deal of what lies beneath, because you're re-examining some of the things about yourself, about your art, about your surroundings. So that's all part of this page here. Yeah, there is value in it, Ingrid. I agree. I was raised with music in the house. My dad sold pianos and organs for a living, and so we always had music in the house. When we cleaned house on Saturday, we had the Metropolitan Opera playing as we were cleaning. So, I've always been exposed to art and music. And there is so much enjoyment in it. When you listen to music and you can get the feeling out of the music, there are things that I can listen to and it can stir me to tears just listening to it. So yes, those things are important, to be in touch with yourself.
I don't know about you, but I don't want to be a little robot, and I don't want my kids to be little robots either.
No. But that's so much of academia anyway. I mean, we are taught to spew back everything that we are given in a classroom. We take exams so that we can spew back what the teacher stood up at the front and told us. It's just, that's academia, and we need the freedom of expression, and art definitely does that.
Definitely. Let's see. How about the most inspirational place you've visited that influences your art?
The most okay, say it again.
The most inspirational places that you visited that influence your art, since we were just talking about travel. Like, is there a place that continuously shows up in your art? Like, it might just be for me, my local surroundings. I love where I live, and it constantly shows up in my art.
Yeah, I see that in your desert scenes and stuff.
Mhm.
I I like nature, period.
Yeah, me too.
So that shows up a lot in my art. Natural elements, leaves, flowers, water, sky, but a specific place, no. I can be inspired just by walking out in the yard and seeing a plant that has an unusual formation or something. I don't think that there's anything specific that does that to me. I mean, we spent a lot of time as a child. We spent a lot of time going north to go fishing with my dad, and so I think I was influenced by the pines and the rocks and the lakes and all of that as a child because of that wilderness type environment. But I guess I never really thought about that. But my mother also influenced me because we spent a lot of time gathering things. One of the things that I'm putting on my page right now is a butterfly. And the reason I'm adding a butterfly is because my mother collected butterflies and taught me about butterflies. She also was the one who taught me the botanical names of plants. We would go out for a walk, and she would show me a plant, and she would um, identify the plant botanically, and then we'd go back home and we'd look it up in a reference material, and I could look at it in pictures and see anatomically how things were constructed.
I would say nature, nature really does also influence shape and color and design inside my brain. I spent a lot of time outside as a child as well, and um, I loved visiting, still love visiting the Oregon coast. The shapes of the basalt rock there fascinate me. Uh, how it's been worn away by the water and then, you know, becomes angular in shape a lot of times. And I like things like angles. I like things to be in boxes and stuff like that. And I think that's probably something to do with that. I also really got interested in Native American art when I moved here and visited a lot of the ancient places. They also just fascinate me. And I look at the stuff that I see around Arizona and I'm just amazed that people lived here. This is such a harsh climate.
Yeah.
And people lived here for, and even became people who were stationary and grew plants and fed themselves by nature here in this harsh environment is amazing to me. Those people must have been so strong because it is hot. Just going outside drains you because of the heat.
Well, and conversely, it's the people that lived in the harsh cold climate here. I wonder how on earth did they ever live in a teepee?
I know, right?
Those women with their baby strapped on their back.
When they're
And
going out and foraging, and I mean, what is there to forage?
yeah,
It's like here in Arizona, what the heck do you even have to forage? But they did, and they survived, and they grew corn, and they were amazing. So that amazes me, and I love to go look at those type of places and visit and think about that type of stuff. Um, Probably the best road trip, camping trip I ever took was from California up into Utah, Arizona, going around all those national parks,
Yeah.
arches and canyonlands and all those just amazing places. Amazing. In Grand Canyon, we saw it all. We went to Canyon de Chelly. We just did all of them, and that's when I got interested in like cliff dwellings and stuff like that.
Oh, I loved reading about that stuff when I was younger. The many books that are like Clan of the Cave Bearer, that kind of stuff, that where they were very graphic books that were talking about the life and how they did things, how they were preparing the leather, and it's pretty fascinating, the things people have gone through to get us to this day and age.
Yep, and we just
Um,
don't even think about it anymore. We don't honor those ancestors who did that. We don't even think about them. You know?
Not as much as we should, for sure. But the thing that you mentioned, though, is the camping, the stuff
Mhm.
that you did when you were camping. And I think that that also is an experience that we had as children. We were lucky enough to have those types of experiences where we did that. And I think about some of those inner city kids that haven't even had an opportunity to
Oh, I
go
know.
out.
They've never even been out in nature. They've been in a
Yeah,
city all their life.
yeah.
That's
So we were very lucky because we got to go those. I remember as a child, we had a campfire um, camp that my folks would send me to every year. And um, I would get to pick the week, whether it was the week where we were going to actually be riding horses, or if we were going to be swimming, or, because they had different weeks throughout the summer. And they would have an emphasis on something, whether it was archery or uh, making art jewelry, or so I would pick each summer. I'd try to pick something different that they were focusing on, and I got exposed to a lot of things because I was able to go to a camp like that. That's where I made my first enamel jewelry, because they had a kiln where we were putting the powder on the metal and making our own enamel jewelry.
Huh. I've never done that. I've made lots of jewelry, but not enameled. I don't know how to do that. I think I'm pretty much done with these. I don't know. Am I? I think so.
Yeah, one of the things that I like about travel is being able to experience something that you don't have locally. We're landlocked. So when I travel, I really like to go someplace where I get to the ocean. Really love the ocean.
Oh, I love the ocean too.
And so anytime I travel, I like to include one coast or the other, or another country that's got ocean, the Gulf. That's kind of my thing.
I don't think this would be.
Loving yourself a portrait, Shel.
Oh, thanks. I think it
Yeah, the
needs.
waves, and some of the large lakes up in Minnesota, they're big enough that the waves get really big, kind of like on the ocean. So depending on the weather, can be kind of scary. So yeah, I think I'm kind of at a standing point here with this too. I have a little caricature that I did of myself with my bag that's holding all of my, I should put all of my art supplies in that bag. I should put my brush and my pens and my journal and paints and what else do I have in there? Pencils.
Hopefully enough stuff to work.
And scissors and ruler. All that stuff is in there. In that bag that I'm carrying. And all the things that are influencing me are here on the outside, the Instagram, Pinterest, challenges, sketches, journal, reading, watching, sharing. And then on this side, I was just, putting some of my thoughts in here around the paint cans and tucking little thoughts about what we were talking about today into my pocket here. And remembering that love is the golden thread. So that's kind of it for me today. How are you doing, Shel?
Yeah, I'm just putting some black edges on my pages because I like that.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm done.
Well, I did not do a fast video today. Just wasn't feeling it. So there will not be a fast video coming out. But I wanted you to go out and watch the other artists that are, putting themselves out there right now. So go check them out and follow the hashtag. And we'll see you again next week with some more art.
Yeah. I think so. I don't know